Fam, man, it's been a week since I jumped on the crazy train. You know, I was going to say the crazy train, but it's kind of just the crazier train because I'm kind of always on the crazy train. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, I'm creating a video game. We are creating a video game. So far, Erica, most of you know Erica, I'm kind of re-explaining things from the first video. If you haven't watched the first video, go watch the first video I made about a week ago, last Thursday, kind of elaborating on the beginning of this process. Erica and I are trying to hammer this thing out. Originally, what the plan was going to be was we were going to work through the concepts, we're going to work through the concept art, and I was going to put together a 2D rendition through Flash of what I am familiar with, trying to show off what I think we're going to do with this game and how awesome it's going to be. And I started to look into Flash, and I was like, yeah, you know what, you do fucking... trying to look through a couple of versions, trying to think about how I would do it and stuff like that. And I just started thinking, I'm like, I really fucking why would I make all of the assets in Flash and then just have to make them again in 3D? I wasn't thinking that I was going to get into 3D rendering, but it just came down to a point where I was like, Blender's free. I don't know anything about 3D rendering or 3D modeling, rather. Fuck it. Why not? So actually, first I looked into Unity game engine, which I think is what we're gonna use going forward, more likely than not. And I actually made my first game in Unity. Engine. It sucks. Eventually, I'm probably gonna play that stupid, shitty game. I made it off of a tutorial, so I was basically just following steps. But I made a fucking game. Go me, whatever. Anyway. So yeah, I'm making a game. I'm really fucking excited about it. If I seem like I'm a little bit less bursting at the seams right now, it's because it has burnt me out a little bit. Basically, in the last week, I've spent every waking moment that I haven't been eating or pooping or working on this thing and thinking about this thing and doing this thing. So it's... progress is steady, but it's slow. I'm brand new to it. I had never 3D modeled anything before 1 week ago. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to show you guys the latest picture of the 3D model we got going. I am still learning a lot. I've done over like 10 hours of Blender tutorials. It's funny, a joke came to mind. I had a feeling somebody would say in the comments, it's easy to use a fucking Blender. You just hit the speed you want and it turns on. Blender's a 3D modeling program, you jackass fucking commenter who might have made that comment, and now you fucking can't because I already did. Ha! Anyway, I've done like over 10 hours of tutorial videos, at least 10 hours. I've done like 150 Google searches to do these little things. That's the only way I really learn is self-teaching. Sitting in a class or something like that just never fucking worked for me. So this is how I do things, whether or not it works. And by the way, it's funny because Erica is also learning Blender, which is fucking awesome in my opinion, because it's going to help so much. Originally, she was just doing the concept art, and she's kind of already hitting the wall in terms of how much more of that she can do. She still needs to work on level, everything regarding the levels, backgrounds, different items and stuff like that. So she is getting into 3D modeling, and she's extremely excited about it, and she's beginning to see like what she can do and stuff, which is fucking awesome. I could not have asked for more for her to jump into it and get into it. So yeah, it's very interesting for me to be so committed to this, because if you just look back to my animation, I had such a big scope that I wanted to accomplish. I had so much I wanted to do, and so little of that actually happened. It turned into just fucking teeth talking, because usually when I get to working on projects, I think of, okay, I want this to be as simple as possible, and I want to produce as much of it as I possibly can. And that prevents you from accomplishing anything in the grander scheme. It essentially limits you down to making fucking teeth talk, and that's what it ended up being. Fun fact: that being said, I hated lip syncing when I used to animate, and if you guys have seen the shit that I made, it's basically all just lip syncing, them fucking talking, occasionally moving. So fun fact, the characters in the game we're gonna make don't have fucking mouths, because solutions, baby. That's what I look for with everything. Yeah, so Erica's done over 100 concept pieces of art for this project so far. It has been absolutely insane how much she's committed to it. I couldn't be more grateful. That isn't just a round number. She has done literally over 100 little pieces of art for this character so far. A lot of it just been bouncing back and forth and finding some sort of middle ground, some sort of matching my idea, what I've got in my head, and what I'm able to articulate through the thoughts. Articulate. Yeah, well, when you can't even pronounce the word articulate, well, how fitting is that? Through my thoughts and trying to express my vision for it to her so she can draw it out. We've gone back and forth endlessly over the last week. Endlessly over a week. That's impossible for something to be endless over a week. I defined its parameters right there within a week. It had an end. It was 1 week, fam. At least I know that I'm stupid, right? So that, anyway. So here we go. I told you guys earlier I would do it. Here is the latest picture of our dude. Look at that thong. Thong looks good. Thong is 100% all pro, don't you think? Obviously, he has no legs yet. We got to finish the legs. I need to do all the connecting material. You can see he doesn't have any connecting material between his, or for his elbow, for his shoulder connecting to his chest, or his where the trap muscle is on a human body. And you probably can't see it, but there's no connecting material between his head and his shoulder pads, his traps, his chest, fucking whatever, clavicle. Yeah, here he is so far. This is very basic. Not that basic. I mean, I spent a lot of fucking time on this thing, but so far, I like the way he's looking. He's very much matching the idea I had in my head, which is crazy, and it's so cool to. Again, going back to like music and animation and stuff like that, I had an idea in my head, and it extremely frustrated me that I could not put that idea in front of other people. With music, I have so many awesome beats in my head, and I'm like, okay, just do it on a computer, and I never committed enough to it to where I could actually accomplish that. It's always sounded so much cooler in my head than it ended up sounding, through your ears. And my animations always looked so much cooler in my head than it ended up looking in front of your eyes. But with this, I'm actually committed to it for now. I mean, shit, like I said in the last video, tomorrow I could release a video and be like, hey, I fucking lost enthusiasm and I'm over it. But until then, I'm going to ride this motherfucker out, and I really want to see where it goes. Where it goes is an interesting thing because my roommate's buddy, he has looked into all of our notes and stuff like that, or I've told him about the project, and he seems pretty interested. He's got some game developing experience, not the most, but something that's most important to me is what someone is prepared to commit, the time, the energy, because, you can learn. A lot of people, as long as someone's malleable, they can learn pretty much anything. Different skill sets and stuff like that come in different ways. But I believe that if someone's committed, if someone has that energy, then they can accomplish a lot more than someone who may have the skill set but doesn't have that energy, especially on a project like this where there's no, it may never come out. I really fucking want this thing to come out, but nobody might ever get paid for this. So it's going to take someone who's willing to, do that. One of my favorite ways, a saying that came to mind like a couple weeks ago, that kind of accurately sums me up in my opinion. I like to try to encourage thought and inspire insanity. So encouraging the thought is learning the stuff. Inspiring insanity is doing all of it for free with nothing, no proven outcome. So that's where I'm at. There is going to be some material issues with this robot dude. I just got a lot to figure out still. I'm still 1 week into learning how to 3D model, so I don't have it all figured out. I still have so much to learn. So material issues with it. Eventually, I'm going to get to boning this robot. No, not like that, but like that. Anyway, let me explain it. So you attach a bone structure to the robot, and then you can move it around. Right now, any different pose that I have to do with this guy is pretty complicated. I have to move each individual little part to move his arms up and down and stuff like that. It's not that simple. But once you attach a boning structure to this dude, all I have to do is move around the bones, and then that part moves. So it'll be really easy to slide him around, to put him in different poses, and to kind of show him off, to display him for you guys. Beyond that, when I start to animate him, so remember how I told you originally I was going to make a 2D animation kind of showing it off in Flash, giving, kind of throwing my concepts out there and seeing if anybody's interested? Well, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to do it in 3D, and everything's going to be transferable to whatever game engine we decide to use, probably Unity. We just take the 3D models, we take all of the little animations that I've made for it for the 3D demo, and it will go right into whatever program we're going to use or whatever game engine we're going to use. So instead of wasting all the time doing shit that's not going to end up following through to the rest of the project, what I'm doing right now is going to follow through the rest of the project. So I'm excited for that, but the learning curve is insane. That being said, it's exciting, it's frustrating, it's crazy. I'm love hating it right now because it's a whole new world and it's fun. That being said, it felt like there was another thing that I was going to say about that, but I've forgotten. So let's just move right along. My sister is visiting tonight. I don't think that we're going to shoot any videos together. Probably not. I mean, for fuck's sake, I haven't shot any videos myself on here besides these vlogs, which I'm probably going to do once a week at this point through this making of this fucking game, to kind of detail the process, because I like sharing things with you guys. You guys think it feels like we got something special. She's visiting, so not a whole lot of progress is going to be done between tonight and next Tuesday night when she leaves. So between Wednesday and the next Friday vlog, I'm probably gonna do it on Fridays. I don't fucking know. I'm gonna have to work my fucking ass off even more than I'm already working my ass off to get some progress done, to be able to show you guys, hopefully at least some legs, feet, connecting tubing, everything like that. And then after I'm done with all that, actually, after I'm completely done with the model, I think that I'm going to have to redo the entire model, because the way that it's done currently is going to waste a lot of processing. For one thing, it's going to connect really oddly, and for another, I think that's going to waste a lot of processing power for people to be able to play. I really want people to be able to play this game on a potato. That's the ideal situation for me. That being said, right now, the way that everything's constructed, it wastes. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to understand this. Hopefully, if not, I get it, because I wouldn't have been able to understand this before I started learning this. But the surfaces that I've made for every part of this robot dude, they continue through to even where you can't see them, and that wastes your computer or my computer or anybody who's trying to play it. It wastes the processing time trying to produce those surfaces, even though they're unseen. So in a perfectly optimized game, you want any surfaces that aren't seen to not be produced. That way your computer has to do less work. So right now, this model is producing a ton of surfaces that don't matter. So I gotta fix that, and I gotta make it look good. And that's gonna be a bitch, but you know what? Committed. Let's do it. The fucking, this is getting complicated. There's something called, at least the way that my roommate's friend explained it, as scope creep, which I get, which means kind of, some of you might get it by that terminology, but if you don't, let me try to explain it for you. If you go to a game developer and you're like, hey, I want to make a game, tic-tac-toe game, and they're like, okay, I could do that in a day, no problem. It's like, all right, cool. Now here's where scope creep comes in. Then you're like, instead of X's and O's, I want it to be 3D modeled dragons and 3D modeled gnomes. And they're like, okay, it'll probably take at least about a week now. And then you come back and you're like, okay, instead of tic-tac-toe of 3D dragons and 3D gnomes, I want to do a full MMO RPG with dragons, gnomes, and cosplay girls. then they're like, okay, that's going to take a couple years. So the 3D scope idea, it definitely applies to this project. My ideas for this thing are getting bigger and bigger, and I want to see more and more done with it. I don't know. Time will tell. My perspective on things is, you know, especially when it comes to video games, if you're not doing anything better or different, why are you doing it at all? And that's going to apply to this. I'm not just going to make some bullshit typical game. If it turns out like that, I'm not going to release it, because it has to do something new, better, different, something like that. Or why the fuck would I do it at all? You know me. It's something I said in the last video. I want this thing to ooze style. I want it to be different, and I want people to be able to feel connected to it, because it's something unique and different. And just like me, I'm the mess with Snowflake. Yeah. So right now, fucking hell, I didn't think this was going to go over 10 minutes, but we're passing 15. I want to get to some comments from the last video, so I can, again, just be connected with y'all, because I like being connected with y'all, and I want to be connected with y'all. So let's connect, fam. And by the way, of course, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. I don't know how many details I want to give out regarding the game itself and like its gameplay mechanics and stuff like that, because it's really hard to explain. I've tried to explain it to a few people, and they're like, because I don't know. If this game were simple, if it were just a basic side scroller, I'd be like, hey, it's a side scroller. And it's like, okay, what's different, new, creative about that? It's not. It's just side scroller. So there are a lot of different gameplay elements in this that I feel are going to make it unique and fun and creative and different. Unique and different, same fucking thing. Anyway, let's get to some fucking comments. And if you have any questions, ask them in this video. I'd be happy to answer them next week. So Furious Frostfire, my question is, will there be any dually gats? Fun fact, as you can see in the character model, he has those big, those big forearms. His hands are going to be able to retract into those tubes, and those tubes are going to become guns. And then anytime he needs to interact with anything, press anything like that, his hands will protrude back out again and act as hands. So he, by design, always has dually gats, because both of them are kind of like the Samus Metroid gun with the fucking shooting energy. So yes, and that's funny as hell that was asked. Ragehound Doom went on doing some shit that I hate it when you guys do, which is apologizing for not watching my shit. If you can watch my stuff, I'm grateful. I love having you guys around. If you can't, no apologizing. I don't want anything regarding me or this channel to make anybody feel like they need to apologize for anything. I'm grateful for you guys when I have you. When I don't, do your fucking thing, live your life, be happy, and don't think about letting me down. You're not letting me down. You can't let me down. But at the end of it, he said, I better have an Easter egg in your game. I would love, and it's almost definite that I'm going to incorporate as much as I can from this channel into the game. Most of it is probably going to be so the customization element to this game is, I want it to be as deep as possible. The character that you saw, it's going to be a very generic, basic character, but you can add a lot of stuff onto it. Hats, masks, shoulder pads, pants, shoes, boots, shit like that, you know? So I want it to be really customizable, and for some reason that felt really bad coming out of my mouth. Customizable. Anyway, at least the names for those things I want to be references to the channel in jokes and stuff like that. I'd love to do that, and I really, really want to. I can't see why we wouldn't be able to. If I just named, let's say for instance, like fucking the Venom Beast from the channel. He's a fucking snake. He always acts as a snake and stuff like that. If we make a snake hat with a big stupid snake head, I wouldn't name it Snake. I'd name it Venom, because like if I just went fucking basic and easy, or I'd name it TVB or something like that, and people would be like, what the fuck, TVB? It's a snake. That doesn't make any sense. But if you get it, you get it. And the game would be surrounded by those in-jokes that you'd have to fucking be a part of the channel to know. Beyond that, yeah, a lot of people just asking me good, or wishing me good luck and stuff like that, of which I appreciate. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. And I'm going to be working my ass off on it. Erica's working her ass off on it. It's going to be a few months. We'll probably produce that video demo, and then maybe a year or so until we actually produce a game that's functional, depending on who we get on board to develop, or if we get no one and Erica and I are making this game ourselves, which would take significantly longer than somebody being like, hey, this is easy and you guys are fucking stupid, which is entirely possible. Yeah, that's where we're at, and I'm fucking done talking, and my sister's coming to visit tonight. Yeet! Excited about that. I'm gonna see you guys in a week, and I'm gonna stop talking now.